So a lot of people will go right to the pre-approval process when they're looking for a loan, but I do think it's important that we talk about some things that you can do before you even go to get a loan. For example, like getting your credit checked and updating it if there's anything wrong with it. Can we talk a little bit about some things you can do before you even get pre-approved for a loan?
Yeah, I mean, credit is such an integral piece in getting financing, right? You're applying for the loan, and the lender wants to know that you've been able to maintain your credit in a satisfactory way in the past, right? Because now we're eventually going to, potentially lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So credit is a key component. One hint that I have, and I use this myself, is I use Credit Karma to monitor my credit. I think it's a good way. It's free. It's a good way to know who's running your credit, what your credit profile looks like. So I would start with that immediately. But I'll give you a couple tips today that I think are so important that a lot of people don't know when it comes to getting credit. One of those is most people will go into this process to buy a house thinking that they need to pay everything off or get all their debt down. Having debt and making your payments on time is what's creating your score and making your score increase, right? So having debt is okay, right? Generally speaking. One of those things is when you pay off a credit card and it's all done and you don't want to use it anymore, most people will call up the credit card company and tell them they want to close out the card.
Yeah.
Closing out the card is something that you don't want to do. And the reason for that is, think about it. You've had this card for X amount of years. You've been making your payments on time, which is creating your credit score and making it go up. When you close the card, you're eliminating all of those years of payments being made on time.
Yeah.
So in fact, closing a card can impact your credit score and make it drop, which most people don't know. So what you want to do is pay the card off, which is great. Literally cut it up with scissors and just don't use the card anymore. So that's one hint with credit is you never want to close out a credit card.
Well,
Did you know that?
Really, you know what? I have learned that the hard way over the years because, you have a credit card for a long time and you bought a bed or something and you're like, why do I need that one? So that one's understandable. But yeah, the longer ones, you definitely want to keep that history. So
yes. So one more for you is with collections. Medical collections are the most common that we see from this end. So again, you're going into the mindset of trying to buy a house. You might know that you have a past collection on there. It could have been a cable box that you never turned in on a rental that you had, right? So we all have those. So with the collection, depending on the origin of that collection, most of those collections from a lending perspective, we don't require you to pay those off. So what happens is if you have a collection on there, let's say it was 4 years ago, right? It will stand your credit for roughly about 7 years. So you're 4 years into the 7. You know that you have a $30 old cable box that you never turned in. You think about you're going to buy a house. You know what? I know I have this collection. I'm just going to pay that off and just get it over with. What's happening is when you pay that collection, you're going to start that 7 years all over again. So it's going to stay on your credit. It's going to start that timing over again. And the reason for that is you went to collection 4 years ago. Now you pay it. So it's a double whammy. Now you're admitting that collection is yours by paying it. So then the 7 years is starting over again. So paying a collection actually could hurt your score, not improve it. So when you're going into buying a house, I suggest talking with your loan consultant. Let them run your credit. They will advise you on what you need to do with your collections. And I bet most of them are going to say, don't do anything with it.